Oh, hey, this is the first segment of a new series, a new playlist, as you were, that I'm going to be talking about called The Odd, which is all these events which have seemed to be occurring throughout history that are known about, and yet we all just kind of like glaze over them like it's nothing. But these things happened. And if you look down in the description, you'll be able to see some videos, documentaries, any links I've got that'll talk a little bit more about the odd, these odd things. And one of the first ones I ever heard about, which is pretty odd, especially for the wintertime, is a thing called the Dyatlov Pass incident. Now, if you don't know about this, it's about these 9 hikers who decided to go hiking in the Russian wintertime to a place called the Dead Mountain, or Mountain of the Dead. Which, you know, on the surface you might think that's pretty odd, but I gotta be honest, if there was a place called the Mountain of the Dead, I'd probably want to go there too. So they were on their little journey there, moving along, and things get kind of sketchy because, well, everybody died. And what they found when they went to the tent was they found that these people had, well, they'd set up a tent in a wide open space. And all these guys were hyper educated hikers, like they were experienced, you know? They knew what they were doing. But the weird event was that it seemed like they were being pursued. They were being hunted. And when they set up their tent, they set it up with a huge field of view going back to the tree line so they could see what was happening. And then later, when they inspected the tent, they found that they had cut view holes in the tent so they could look outside of the tent. Which, that's a pretty weird thing to do, you know? Unless, of course, you're being pursued. Now, it seems pretty obvious to me that these people had some kind of a run-in with a hominid. Some kind of a creature that didn't want them there. And they were pursued. They set up their shelter. They tried to create fields of view. And then during the night, something terrible happened to these people. During the night, they were attacked. Later, when they were found, it looked as though they were in a car crash. And some people tried to say that they were in it was an avalanche that did this, but it doesn't really seem to fit, you know? It doesn't fit what they were doing. And when you look at the nature of the injuries, it kind of looks like they got beat to death by some large creature. One of them had his chest crushed. If you read the actual description of the injuries, it sounds a lot like something with like a 21-inch long human foot stomped on his chest. Another guy got punched in the face so hard that his entire front of his skull imploded. So I invite you to take a look at the Dyatlov Pass incident. Make up your mind about it. But I think you'll find that there's more than enough evidence to show that these people were being pursued. They were being hunted by a creature that perhaps was not from this world. Perhaps it was a world breach. Perhaps it was something that they were getting close to. Why was it called the Mountain of the Dead? Is this area a thin space that was widely known by the locals? It seems that way. And yet, to this day, it's still an incident that remains, well, a mystery. Or does it? Because it seems pretty obvious to me that the Dyatlov Pass incident was a situation where there was a monster who killed 9 people. And those kids are dead for sure. And you look at the injury reports, you look at what's going on there, it seems pretty obvious that we need to be careful when we investigate these things, number 1. The elements are a huge issue, number 2. And there's some grisly photos of what happened to these people. I'm not too sure Bigfoot or these hominids are maybe these friendly creatures that we're taught to believe they are.